I also had this vague idea of starting a company, but I didn't know what that was until I met Adam, because he sort of had also a vague idea of doing some sort of machine learning in the industry where he came from. And we joined forces, and in 2017 founded the first startup.
Is it ZenML or it was a different one?
It was a different one. It was the idea of applying one vertical or one machine learning use case in a specific industry vertical. As I was coming from the commercial vehicle industry, we started with predictive maintenance for commercial vehicles. And basically that was bringing machine learning into production every day on different circumstances, different legacy systems for all our customers. So we were completely bootstrapped. We financed it on our own and built that out for several years. And then somehow ZenML was founded without us recognizing it in the first place.
So guys, when did you realize that ZenML, what you do in ZenML, has bigger potential than what you thought you want to solve?
Yes. So initially, we didn't plan to start with ZenML. So the previous company was an industry vertical for predictive maintenance for commercial vehicles. So we brought machine learning into production every day, and all the companies what we were working with had a different stack. They had different legacy systems, and we needed to adopt every time. And for ourselves, we were bootstrapped. We didn't have any money. For ourselves, we needed to have a very, very modular stack in the background, which will make us bring machine learning into production very quickly with changing systems.
So would you say that it was kind of a services consulting company with some helpful tools?
It turned into that a little bit. We wanted to build a product first, but as we wanted to educate ourselves with different companies in the industry, we somehow turned we didn't really want to do that, but we turned into a project-based company and not a product-based company. But we learned a lot. So how to deal with the data of the customers, where to run. We worked with all the cloud providers. So it was really amazing to ramp up our game in the MLOps space. But then we found out that what we built in the background, because it was so highly adaptable, we understood that other companies also needed it. We asked friends in other startups who were applying machine learning whether they would see something like that as beneficial, and they did. So we shifted our focus to that, named it ZenML, and open sourced it.
And do you remember how did you pitch it? When you ask your friends and others, would you find something like that useful? What was like that? How did you describe that at that time?
Well, first we were always asking, how are you bringing machine learning into production? And then we were asking the next question, because we found some weaknesses in their processes. Maybe either they were locked in because they were using a big cloud provider, or it was a very manual process, or that there were many problems across the whole machine learning pipeline. And this is then when we afterwards pitched, what if there was a tool which will take over XYZ? And then we got quite valuable feedback.
And do you remember which X or Y or Z, what was the thing that sparked the biggest interest statistically? Or
yes, Hamza, would you? So there maybe
it wasn't. I don't want to make this sound like this was some sort of very mathematical approach.
That's why I think statistically, qualitatively.
I bet it was an experiment track.
It was. It was. I mean, we had a rough idea of what the stack should look like and where it's going. So we knew orchestration was a thing. We knew that metadata store or artifact store and experiment tracking was a thing. We knew that deployers were a thing. So for us, it was always, we drew inspiration from the React Next.js JavaScript world, right? So for us, what we were looking for was more like a framework. So we always use the word framework, and we still to this day, we call ourselves an MLOps framework. Sometimes we call ourselves a MLOps pipelining framework, but it's really meant to cover the entire lifecycle, and it's meant to be modular. That's really what we want to communicate.
So what about when you open source it? How big was ZenML back then when you actually open sourced it?
We had nothing.
Oh, that's very interesting. So
there was
I love that question.
Yeah, I mean, there was an idea. So we got, so this happened. I mean, what we built internally in the previous company, we didn't use that. So we had to throw it away and just took the idea, like some rough things. So we built it again. So it was very bare metal. And essentially, we got 1,000
Yes.
stars.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes.
So got 1,000 stars. We got on Hacker News or something, or we went on GitHub trending.
Hugging Face was posting about us.
Yeah. So I think at the 1,000 to 1,300 GitHub stars mark, we were like, okay, this is cool. At least the idea seems to be resonating. But to be honest, we didn't even have steps. We didn't have pipelines. I don't even remember what we had actually.
But maybe, Orimas, the question was, when did we open source it? It was from the get-go. So
yeah, exactly.
So I think I remember it was 2021. I think I was even then participating in LinkedIn. I think it kind of went big, and then everyone was talking about ZenML, and influencers started kind of also, I think, helping you, right, on LinkedIn to kind of make it popular and known. Did it help, or was it already kind of big before that happened?
Well, it was helpful, definitely. So our goal back then, we started open source. We wanted to take this full movement, this snowball system of PR, and we thought that we would need to open source it from the very beginning, because we are touching so many parts of the machine learning pipeline that it just needs a lot of credibility, and it has to be open that also other developers are contributing to us. So this is why it was a no-brainer to do it open source. We used the influencers in the beginning, or we worked together with them actually, so they gave us a lot of tips as well, to get to the magic threshold of 1,000 GitHub stars, which we wanted to reach to raise venture capital. Up until this point, we completely financed it on ourselves. We bootstrapped it, and then we thought, okay, now we go out to VCs and convince them to build it even further.